So let's set up the ratio table. I'm going to start with quantity 1 on top and quantity 2 on the bottom. Okay. And I need 3 columns. 1, 2, 3. Perfect. All right. So we'll start with our first ratio, 3 to 7. I put the 3 in quantity 1 and the 7 in quantity 2. Now I need to make sure that they stay in line, so that 9 has to go in quantity 1 and the 21 in quantity 2. And then 15 in quantity 1 and 35 in quantity 2. Cool, so we set it up just by taking these ratios and putting them into our ratio table. So a ratio table is just a way to organize equivalent ratios, okay? So now let's take a ratio table that's been given to us, and let's see if we can find what numbers are missing. All right, we'll start with something a little simple, okay? So I've got quantity 1 and quantity 2. My first ratio is 5 to 1, and I can tell that because they're lined up, 5 to 1. My second ratio is 10 to 2, and my third ratio is something to 3. So let's look for patterns happening in this. I want you to pause for a second and see if you can find the patterns that are happening in this ratio table. Okay, hopefully you've come back because you've looked at this and you've seen some patterns happening in this ratio table. So let's check it out. Maybe you said that you saw that this was counting by 5s. Maybe you said that you saw that quantity 2 was counting by 1s. Okay, these are patterns. Maybe you said that you saw that from quantity 2 to quantity 1, we multiplied by 5. 2 times 5 equals 10. 1 times 5 equals 5. Okay, whatever the ratio or the pattern that you saw, you probably noticed what number should go in this blank. So let's count by that. So if I go on quantity 1 and I know that I'm counting by 5s, so I start with 5, then I go to 10, and then my last number should be 15. If I'm counting by the quantity 2 to quantity 1, I notice that these are multiplied by 5. So I take 3 and multiply by 5 to get 15. So that's how I found my missing number there. Okay. So let's do another try it. I'm going to start a new page. Actually, will you make sure that you write down any questions that you have before you start the new page? Okay, so copy down these two ratio tables and see if you can find the missing numbers for this spot and for this spot. And then on the other one for this spot and for this spot. So take a minute, pause this. I'm going to give you about 2 minutes. Try these problems. Find those missing numbers. Okay, so now I've got those missing numbers. All right, you've tried those missing numbers. So I'm going to start by looking at my patterns. I know that on the bottom, it looks like I'm counting by 3s, right? On the bottom, on the Q2, looks like I'm counting by 3s. And on the top, it looks like I'm counting by 1s. So let's check this out, okay? 1, 2, then something, then 4. It looks like I very well might be counting by 1s. And then on the bottom, I've got 3, something, then 9, then 12. So again, it looks like I'm counting by 3s. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to compare. From 1 to 2, I multiply by 2. 1 times 2 is 2. From 3 to blank, I should also multiply by 2. 3 times 2 is 6. So this number should be a 6. Okay. Now let's check the next one. I don't know how to get from 6 to 9, but I do see the pattern here. I can see that from 3 to get to 9, I'm multiplying by 3. 3 times 3 is 9, which means to get from 1 to this blank, I should multiply by 3 also. Okay, this is a multiplicative relationship. Multiplicative. Okay, now this is just the way that I solved it. Maybe you saw the pattern and you decided to go with it and put those numbers in there, okay? And that's okay for now because these are the easy versions of ratio tables, okay? So then on this vertical one, again, I noticed that on the left, on quantity 1, it looks like I'm counting by 1s. And on quantity 2, it looks like I'm counting by 6s. So the number that should go here is 1, 2, 3. 3 times 6 is 18.